successfully scatter visible light all across your room. Section 4. Thermal management. Where does the heat go? Because listen, creating light doesn't happen without a byproduct. As amazing as this quantum leap is, it isn't perfectly 100% efficient. While a massive amount of that electrical energy is converted into those beautiful glowing photons we just talked about, some of it is inevitably converted into heat. And as we know, heat is the natural enemy of electronics. So to ensure the bulb's lifespan and its performance, that heat has to travel away from the sensitive LED chip into the internal circuit board and is then safely dissipated by the bulb's heatsink out into the surrounding air. Thermal management really is the unsung hero, keeping your lights running for years. Moving right along to Section 5, the alternatives, LEDs versus the rest. To truly appreciate the modern marvel of the LED, we kind of need to compare it to the brute force technologies of the past. Take incandescent bulbs. They rely entirely on incandescence, literally forcing electricity through a tiny, super thin tungsten filament until it becomes so incredibly hot that it just glows brightly. Actually, it's basically creating light by setting something on fire. Well, okay, setting it on fire in a vacuum, but you get the idea. On the other hand, we had CFLs, or compact fluorescents. These rely on a really complex electrical discharge through gas to produce ultraviolet radiation. Then, a special phosphor coating on the glass converts that invisible UV radiation into visible light. Let's look at how these mechanical differences actually impact sheer efficiency. Because incandescent bulbs rely entirely on sheer, intense heat to glow, a massive portion of the electrical energy they consume is just completely wasted. In fact, roughly 90% of the energy used by an incandescent bulb is lost as thermal waste, 90%, leaving only a tiny little sliver actually functioning as visible light. It's the exact reason why classic easy-bake ovens used incandescent bulbs. They were incredibly effective heaters that just happened to emit a little bit of light. You were basically paying to heat your ceiling rather than light your room. When you compare these 3 generations of lighting side by side, the winner is incredibly obvious. You have the incandescent wasting massive heat with a very low lifespan. You have the CFL, which, has moderate heat and moderate efficiency, but relies on gas and UV radiation. And then you have the LED. By using semiconductor technology to directly create photons, the LED maintains remarkably low heat production, vastly superior energy efficiency, and a lifespan that leaves the older tech totally in the dust. It really is a complete paradigm shift in how we illuminate our world. All right, Section 6, the complete process, from switch to light. Let's rapidly zoom back out from that microscopic semiconductor right back into your illuminated room to review this entire breathtaking sequence. In literally mere milliseconds, power travels from a distant grid, races through your home's wiring, crosses the threshold of the closed wall switch, is carefully regulated by the bodyguard LED driver, and triggers a microscopic, high-speed collision of electrons in the semiconductor, finally emitting photons as visible light, all in the blink of an eye. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly frames what we've learned today. So the next time you turn on a light, remember, you're not just switching on a bulb. You're activating an entire chain of electrical and semiconductor technology. It totally transforms a mundane daily action into this awe-inspiring feat of modern physics and global infrastructure. You are literally the maestro conducting a symphony of electrons every single time you walk into a dark room. And with that, we've finally brought the journey of the light bulb out of the dark. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Think about it. If we can engineer a simple flip of a switch into a microscopic quantum symphony perfectly tailored to illuminate our homes, what other invisible everyday magic is hiding right behind your walls, just waiting to be discovered? Until next time, keep your curiosity bright.